Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for joining me today on another episode of Cartels Unearthed. Today I'm going to talk about Virginia Vallejo, Virginia Vallejo, whichever one you want to use, a Spanish or English accent. We all know her as Pablo Escobar's mistress, I think, right? I think that's how mostly anyone who knows her today knows her as, even though she has other credits under her belt. That's, I think, the biggest one that she's known for, fame-wise. I'm doing this topic because she's got a movie coming out. Well, she doesn't have a movie coming out, but the book she wrote back in 2007 was turned into a movie and is coming out later this month. It's called Loving Pablo, and it stars Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz. Penelope Cruz plays Virginia Vallejo, and Javier Bardem plays Pablo Escobar. So I figure I give a little background on who she is and a little bit more about her than what most people know. Before anything Pablo related in Colombia, she had already some kind of notoriety to herself. She was pretty famous in her own right. She was a journalist. She was an author. She was a socialite almost. She was well known. She did a lot of TV shows. Had a news program. She had covered the royal wedding of Princess Diana in the UK. She was actually the only Colombian journalist to cover this particular event in London when it happened in 1980 or 81. So this was even before she met Pablo. So she was fairly well known. She had already a decent level of notoriety and fame within Colombia, and even in the international spotlight, because she covered a lot of other international type events, and a lot of times she was invited by the other government. Now, she wasn't even sent out by her wherever she worked to go and cover it, but she was invited by other governments. So already was very, very well known. But also we now can add to her lists of titles as Pablo's mistress. She met him in 1982, if I'm not mistaken. Her first interview with him was Pablo's actual first interview in general that gave him national attention. That interview was done at what was to become Barrio Pablo Escobar, which it's not its real name, by the way. Barrio Pablo Escobar is not that town's real name. The city of Medellin does not recognize that name as the name of that town. But, for you guys who know about Pablo, you guys know that Barrio Pablo Escobar were the slums, the landfill that he cleaned up and built houses for the poor. So this particular interview, which was the first to put Pablo on a spotlight on a national level in Colombia, was accredited with later on a magazine nicknaming him El Robin Hood Paisa. So the Robin Hood of the Paisa people in Medellin. If you're from Medellin, you are considered a Paisa. So that was how that all started. So that's where they first met, when she interviewed him when he was building this town. I believe that was 1982, 83, something like that. Now, she dated him, well, she was his mistress for about 5 years before it ended. If I'm not mistaken, it ended because she found out he had gifted something to somebody else, I think. I'm not 100% sure. There's just so much speculation. It's really pointless to get into it, but obviously it didn't last forever. She did eventually end it. Now, she ended up in a very, very, it was a very publicized event when she requested political asylum in the United States, which was in July of 2006. Now, many people think that the reason she was extradited she was not extradited, sorry, take it back. The reason she requested political asylum in the U.S. was because of Pablo Escobar, and that's not entirely true. The reason she requested political asylum, while it was connected to Pablo Escobar, The reasoning was because she hung out with so many people from his world in that time frame, in the height of the Medellin cartel, the mid 80s, about 5 or 6 years. So from like 1982 to like 1988, that was really the height of the power that Medellin cartel had and Pablo had. In general, the 80s. And so with her being around him so much, or being around his people, she heard a lot of stuff. In 2006, she publicly accused several politicians and presidents of having relations, associates, and benefiting from the narco trafficking in Colombia. So it really was a big thing. Obviously, if you go up against politicians in any country of the world, there's going to be backlash. You can become the target of ridicule, defamation. They could even threaten to kill you. And that's exactly what happened. A lot of threats started coming her way because she publicly accused these politicians and presidents of being connected to the cocaine business in Colombia and benefiting from it, as at the same time helping these traffickers. And so she requested political asylum in the United States. Now, while a lot of those issues were Colombian issues, and the U.S. pretty much couldn't get involved with the politics that involve one nation, and those particular politics are not involving anybody else. I do believe that the reason that she was granted political asylum in 2010 was because of the information she knew about the Cali cartel. Back in the 80s, she worked for Grupo Radial Colombiano, which was a media agency owned by the Cali cartels, Gilberto and Miguel Orejuela. So she had regular contact with the Cali cartel. She knew them well. Also in 2006, around this time, the Orejuela brothers, both Miguel and Gilberto, were in the U.S. on trial for their involvement in the Cali cartel. Well, let's just say that Virginia Vallejo was brought to the U.S. in July of 2006, and not even 2 months later, both brothers from the Cali cartel were sentenced to 30 years in prison, and the U.S. government was able to get $2.1 billion in restitution from the brothers. And this was without going to trial. So they saved the time of having to go to trial. They sent these two men to prison for 30 years, and they got $2.1 billion that the brothers had to forfeit as illicit money that they attained. That's a huge win for any agency in the U.S., anywhere, any agency, period. I'm thinking that the information that she gave in return for the political asylum was information that helped put the Orejuela brothers in prison and get that money without going to jail, without going to trial. So I think that's what she contributed to. I don't really think it was anything in regards to the other politics in Colombia. If anything mattered to the U.S. was the Orejuela brothers, who were already in U.S. custody. And obviously, $2.1 billion is huge. Just so people understand, when a government agency recuperates money like that, they don't burn $2.1 billion. That money goes back into the agencies to help fight the war on drugs, or fund other operations against terrorism or criminal activity. So they take this money and they don't burn it. They don't, it just goes right back into the agency. They keep it and they use it to fund their operations. So to get $2.1 billion and not even have to go to trial for it and put away these two guys in prison, I think that she had a lot of information to share in regards to them. She lives in Miami now. She has done interviews and such. I believe she's working on another book, or it's about to come out. I have spoken to her. I spoke to her once a while back, a couple of years ago. For those who don't know about a year and a half ago, about a year ago, yeah, year and a half, I was working on a television show about this, about all the narco stuff, docu series. It was a pitch. I was working with a production company, and we spoke to, I don't know, a dozen television networks in the U.S. And in that process, I spoke to her about maybe possibly granting us an interview on for the show. Um, we spoke for very little. Pretty much the conversation went like, "Would you be interested?" She said, she'd been offered a lot of similar offers over the past 10 years and has declined many. And we kind of started talking about budgets, and obviously you're going to compensate somebody for their time in being on a television program to give an interview. We spoke about budgets for a little bit. I told her I would get back to her. I didn't have exact numbers, but I would get back to her. And I was never able to reach her again. From what I heard, she had blocked my contact information, and I wasn't able to reach her via her numbers, her reps, or social media. So yeah, I think the only thing that happened, the only thing I can attribute to that is my last name is Ochoa, and it does pop up on my accounts and my stuff. And so if she saw that on my account or my number, she might, I don't know, think I am related to them, but she may have thought something fishy, and that's it. But who knows? Maybe in the future we can maybe work around whatever happened. It was a very normal conversation. It wasn't exaggerated. It was strictly business for a television production, and that's about it. So who knows? But anyway, that's a background on Virginia Vallejo. Hope you guys liked it. Let me guys what you guys think about her. Do you guys see her as a socialite or just Pablo's mistress, or what's your opinion on her? And are you gonna watch the movie? Comes out, I think, this month in the United States and around the world later on. So let me know what you guys think. Comment below, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.